Hi, I'm Emily May from The Book Geek, and this is Layla, and we're here to bring you the best books, in our opinion, of 2015 so far. So this is actually my first video blog in about 7 years because, well, normally the sound of my voice recorded makes me want to throw myself off the nearest tall building, but hopefully there'll be no need for that today, and I can just talk about the best books that I have read in 2015 up until the beginning of July. These are only going to be books that were released in 2015 because I did read some older books as well. And one lucky person can win all of the books mentioned today in a giveaway we're doing on the blog. You can find the link below if you're watching this on YouTube. So just follow the Rafflecopter instructions and you could win some amazing books, in my opinion. So first up we have All the Rage by Courtney Summers, which I read back in January. It's actually the 5th book I've read by Courtney Summers. I've liked all of her work so far, whether it's contemporary high school drama or a zombie apocalypse with This Is Not a Test. I just think that she has this, she writes beautifully, but she also captures what it's like to be a teenager and the harsh realities of bullying and slut shaming. And she gives quite a feminist approach to it, especially in All the Rage. I think it's such a powerful novel. The title's quite appropriate because you do feel very angry while reading it. And you're just taken so far inside this girl's mind, and you start to understand what it might be like for somebody who is sexually assaulted and is stereotyped and slut-shamed against. People are commenting on what she wore and all of those usual things that do actually happen to real people. And it affected me. It's probably my favourite Summers novel to date, and she just keeps delivering such gripping and emotional books. I can't wait to see what she writes in the future. Then there's An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I know a lot of people didn't love this one, and they said that it was just another dystopian fantasy, and it kind of was. But I'll tell you what I liked about this book. It was just the tension that the author created. And it's surprising how few authors can create good tension and have you on the edge of your seat. And yeah, it was very similar to Legend by Marie Lu, in the fact that there was a guy from one walk of life and a girl from another who ended up coming together. But like I said, I thought the book made you very angry for the characters and genuinely scared, and I felt like you didn't know what was going to happen. Like anyone could die in it. I've said before that I like authors who are a little bit evil. Like you're not sure, they could kill off your favorite character. And it creates more tension. Like this author could go anywhere with this, and I think that was what made An Ember in the Ashes stand out for me. It was a nasty book, and all the way through I was like, I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know who's going to win, and that was a good thing, and it kept me reading, and it was a longish book, especially for a young adult book, and I just sped through it in a couple of days. Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. And this is one that so many people were telling me to read. They were like, you need to read this book. It's so cute and whatever. But to be honest, cute to me is not very attractive. I like books where they're like, oh, there's an amazing twist, or it's so creepy, you won't see it coming. Those kind of things really appeal to me. When someone says a book's cute, I'm just like, no, not for me. But I finally gave in, and I have to say this book was so enjoyable. I know what they mean. Like, I can't stop myself from saying it's cute as well, but if you're like me and that doesn't appeal to you, just forget it. It's just a funny, entertaining book. You can't put it down because the characters are so charismatic, and they're nerdy and losers, but you can't help but root for them. And that's basically how I felt about Simon. And the romance in it's adorable. It gets my recommendation, even with cute. None of the Above by I.W. Gregorio. This was a book that made me realise just how good contemporary young adult has been in 2015. It's just, it's looked at a situation that has not been looked at often enough. In any books really, but especially in young adult. And it's about a girl who finds out that she's intersex. And it just provides like information about that, about the science of that, but it's also more about the emotional aspect, that this girl has to suddenly reevaluate who she is, and she's lived her entire life as a girl, but she's now starting to question, am I really a girl? Is this really who I am? And of course then there's the bullying of it, and the stigma attached to people who are intersex. And yeah, it's more about her life afterwards and how she copes with finding out with this medical diagnosis. And it's just very powerful. It seems like very realistic and honest. I don't know if it is, but I think a lot of research has been put into the book, and it is a memorable read. The Ghost of Ellen by Marcus Sedgwick. This is a book I wouldn't have picked up. I wouldn't have chosen it for myself if I wasn't already a fan of Sedgwick. His books are very different. He doesn't try to just appeal to a mainstream YA audience, and I like that. But this book, I described it in my review as being like a cloud atlas for young adults. It's just got this overarching theme of synchronicity. There's these 4 stories that can be read in any order, and read alone, it's just a single story in itself. It's got different characters. It's set in a completely different time, and yet as you read all of them, you start to see that there is this underlying similarity, this link that's gone across these ages. And I really like the suggestion of it, the idea that from the Paleolithic times, probably said that wrong, but from then until thousands of years into the future, we're all linked by like almost a symbolism. It's weird, but I really liked it. And I also should comment that I think that the first story in it is really weird. So if you read that one and you don't know what the hell is happening, maybe just try the next one. But yeah, it was a really good book and very different. Then there's Little Peach by Peggy Kern. This was a book that completely took me by surprise. I think I requested it on Edelweiss, and I wasn't really expecting that much. It was a short book, never heard of the author, and it was so powerful. It's about child prostitution in New York City, and it's based on the author's research and interviews she's done with people who've been through this. And it's such an honest book. Like, some authors are really good at capturing a situation that's entirely unfamiliar to the reader, but making them believe that that's exactly how that would be. And Peggy Kern did that excellently. And it made me very sad. It's a sad book, but I think the books that make you feel the greatest amount of emotion, whether that's like sad, angry, or whatever, I think that they're usually the ones you remember the most. The Sacred Lies of Minnow Bly by Stephanie Oakes. This is a angsty book. I'm just going to put that one out there first. I really liked it. I've read a few books about religious cults and like what goes on in them, usually to young women. But this one I thought went a step further. It's quite a mature book, even though it is aimed at teenagers. It's gruesome in parts and graphic, but it's also more effective because of it. Like some books seem quite gratuitous when they use a lot of violence and stuff, but I felt that this one was powerful. Like it felt like it wasn't shying away from the details. And the main character, I guess she's a kind of unreliable narrator, hence the title. But she's telling the story of what's happened, and you get the sense all along that there's something she's holding back, something that we don't know. And eventually it is revealed, and I finished it thinking this is a really good book, and it stands out from quite there's a lot of books I think that deal with cults, religious or otherwise, and this I think is the best one I've read. One by Sarah Crossan. This is the most recent book I've read on this list, and it might be cheating slightly because it's not actually released until August in the UK and September in the US, but it was such a emotional read that I want to talk about it now. And it's about two conjoined twins called Grace and Tippy. And the author does quite like a lot of different things. I mean, she brings a lot of information forward. It's a novel in verse as well, so you have that aspect. She uses it in a way to create a lot more emotion and a lot more effect. And sometimes it doesn't work, but I thought it worked really well here. And so yeah, she brings like the medical information, but also she's done a lot of research into what it is like to live as a conjoined twin, the difficulties and the benefits of it. And I think the most like memorable thing about the book is that there's this sense of both oneness and individuality. Like the author doesn't neglect to portray these two characters as very different individuals with different tastes and different opinions, but at the same time they have such a love for each other. I mean, how must it be to live with this person your entire life, to have them always there, all the time, which would literally be a part of you? And I think it creates such an interesting relationship dynamic. And it was just a very different type of book. I'm very glad I read it. Okay, I have saved the best to last. This is Uprooted by Naomi Novik, I think. And I just thought this book was excellent. I thought it did so many different things, and it just got them all right. And it was also completely unexpected. I hadn't heard anything about this book. I hadn't read anything by the author. I just saw it one day on Goodreads, and I don't know, curiosity got the better of me, and I had to read it. I don't even know why. And it's actually become one of my favourite books of all time. And it's one of those, I'm trying to like find the right words to tell you how excellent it is, and there just doesn't seem to be enough. It's a fantasy. It's funny. It's charming. It's sexy. It's a lot of things. And I just could not put it down. From literally the first page, I couldn't put it down. Because the narrator is so... I just love her. She's badass, but she's also a bit of a klutz. And then there's a dragon. There's so much like good drama. And it is by far the best book I've read of this year so far. And I find myself, I mean, this is a bit negative, I guess, but I can't imagine in the rest of the year there being a book that surprises me and pleases me as much as this one. Because it was just good all around. There's no such thing as a perfect book, but this is pretty close. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope to do some more video blogs in the near future, but as you can probably tell, I'm such a newbie that I'm just working it out. So if you have any comments, criticism, feedback, just send us an email through the blog or comment on this video. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe found some good book recommendations. Don't forget to enter our giveaway for a chance to win them all. And thanks again.